What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I'm your good friend and host, Corey Willis. Hope everyone is doing well today on a Sunday. Hope you guys enjoyed Week 9 of the college football season. We got some NFL games going on right now. Broncos, Cowboys right now. So, uh, everyone, I hope you all are doing well today. As always, guys, you know where to find us. We're on multiple social media applications. If you want to find us on X, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff, at BD Sportscast, you can find all of our content there. If you also want to listen to our past and present episodes of the Breakdown Sportscast, you can listen to us on a bevy of your favorite podcast applications out there. And if you're also tuning in to our live simulcast that we're on right now on YouTube and on Twitch, we appreciate you guys on Twitch at Breakdown Video Game Cast, where Chris and I are playing some video games. Of course, I have to get on that very soon in our busy schedule. I know that way we can kind of connect with you guys if you all want to hang out and play some video games, maybe some college football 26. I still love playing that, just like
Yes,
Chris
sir.
as well. So yeah, guys, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. All of that great stuff is definitely important for Chris and I as we build this community. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers, guys. Let's see if we can get to 100 subscribers. That way, we can put your name into a raffle for a chance at a free a T-shirt, apparel of your choosing, of any of your favorite college teams out there. So it's a way for Chris and I to say thank you for all that you do here on the Breakdown Sportscast. So yeah, definitely do that, guys. Let your friends and family know about us. Yeah, as always, guys, you know who I'm with. I'm with my good friend and co-host. He is Chris Bolton. Chris, what's going on, my brother?
What's going on? What's going on? It's like you said, Sunday. I'm hoping CD Lamb can wake up for me a little bit. It ain't Sunday if you ain't sweating out a fantasy football game. So I need you, CD. I drafted you first with my first pick for a reason, there, brother. I need you to turn up for me. So well, we'll see how things go as the game continues. But no, everything is good though, man. Just we survived another week of college football. The the fan in me is a little gutted, but it's always good to talk college football. Though it was another crazy, fun week filled with drama.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Chris. Look, man, there's always growing pains, as you know. Some of our fans out there probably know, yeah, and we're reeling, we're reeling too. After week 9, of course, that game between Mississippi State, Texas, fun game, but fun for all the wrong reasons in terms of our our side of the equation. So yeah, man. Overall, you put that game aside, it was a fun week of college football in week 9.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So we got some good games to dive into and recap. That that will have some interesting ramifications as the season continues, Corey.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree with you, man. So overall, are you all ready, Chris, to delve into the week that was in week 9 of the college football season?
Yes, sir. Let's get to it.
All right, all right. Well, week 9 is in the books, folks. We'll go ahead and start off with one of the premier games of the day. Ole Miss had to travel to Norman, Oklahoma, Chris, to take on the Oklahoma Sooners. And would you look at that? 34-26 was your final. Ole Miss got out of Norman with the W. And now, Chris, we can go ahead and start saying it. It looks like Ole Miss is edging closer to the playoffs, to that playoff berth now, and a lot of Rebel fans are very much excited with the rest of the schedule that they have in front of them. They still got to play the games, but it looks like if everything falls into place, looks like Ole Miss has an opportunity to head into the playoffs, and not just that, probably head to Atlanta for a SEC championship.
Oh boy, they would love that because that's the place that they have not been to before in program history. So they don't have an SEC championship to their name. Um, but yeah, we told you guys, as we previewed this matchup, we said, hey, Ole Miss in the points looking real juicy. And the Rebels said, "We'll do you one better. Forget the points, baby. We gonna go out here and win this game outright." So, big time performance by Ole Miss. The defense came up clutch when it needed to be. Uh, John Mateer still doesn't seem like he's John Mateer before the surgery, Corey. He's trying too hard to make plays instead of necessarily taking what's there. And when you do that against this Ole Miss team, a team that can put points on the board, Trinidad Chambliss continuing to play good football, um, you're going to put Ole Miss in position to win. And the Rebels took advantage. This team it's not an extremely talented team, Corey, but I will say I feel like Ole Miss is very well coached. Like there are enough guys on this team that can make plays, but for them to go out here and execute this Lane Kiffin offense the way they do week in and week out, which is centered around running the football and then being able to get your explosives after you get the defense to respect the running game. And Ole Miss is to the point too. If you don't stop the run, then they'll just run it all game too. So this team, they have a good system in place that really puts them in position, I feel like, to be competitive every week because they're not going to stray away from what's working. Um, and so, shout out to the Rebels for going on the road to Norman, beating a really tough team, really tough defense. And I think they have cemented themselves as a force in the SEC and a team we will see play in the postseason.
Yeah, I think what you said, Chris, is spot on. I think this Ole Miss team is playing really good football right now, and they look like they are positioning themselves into getting a potential playoff berth, and like I mentioned, the SEC championship opportunity, place they haven't been to before. So yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how Lane Kiffin and company have gotten this Ole Miss team, particularly this offense, um, to play up to the level that he wants them to play. I mean, they started off with Austin Simmons in the beginning of the season, got a little injured with the ankle, and then out comes Trinidad Chambliss. He balls, and this guy since then has been the linchpin of what Ole Miss's offense has become and is under Lane Kiffin. So you match that with a defense that's lost a lot of guys. They're not perfect, not like they were last year, but they're still a decent defense enough where they can win some ball games. Clearly, hey, that's a recipe for a playoff team, and this is what a lot of Ole Miss fans, if you talk to them, this is what they've been waiting for. This is what they've been wanting this team to come together, assimilate, and become in the later stages of the season. And now they're taking advantage of these opportunities, and it's paying dividends for them. So, shout out to what Lane Kiffin and Trinidad Chambliss has done, because it's a great job in what they've been able to accomplish. For Oklahoma's sake, man, ever since John Mateer got the hand surgery, he has not been the same John Mateer. that we saw in the first half of the season, Chris. And it's definitely a bummer. If you're an Oklahoma fan, you were looking at finishing strong, especially at this part of the season. You were looking at having a game like this that was going to be important to take advantage of. It looked like they were
Hmm.
going to squeeze back and get in position to win the game, but like I said, it just shows. It's just a testament of where John Mateer is at later in the season so far. I don't think he's nearly as he doesn't have that confidence, that swagger about him. Clearly, he second guesses on some of these passes, and he's just not well adapted to make those tough throws that he did try to make in the first half of the season. And that's definitely a bummer. So it's tough if you're an OU fan overall.
Yeah, it is. It is. Feels like there's that team's rhythm was thrown off with him getting injured and having to get that surgery, and it wasn't as easy as just sliding him back in the starting spot and picking up where you left off. This team is hurting a little bit offensively. Um, it almost seems like he maybe should have taken a little more time to return, but it's neither here nor there. I mean, you got him in there now, so it is what it is at this point. Um, but I want to give kudos to Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss's fan base, and the boosters, the people associated with the program. This might not be the best Ole Miss team, but when you string years together of being a competitive.
Okay, I think we are back on. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Something went on with our equipment, but we are back live. Sorry again about the technical difficulties, of course. But I just kind of real quick, Chris. I know you were getting your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts out about this game. Just real quick, just go ahead and kind of continue on with your conversation.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I was just giving credit, giving flowers to this Ole Miss program, to Lane Kiffin, and to the fan base. Just it ain't always this is a byproduct of years and years of having good teams and building to this. So this might not be the best Ole Miss team we've seen during this Lane Kiffin era during this run. It's not the most talented team, but this might be the team that breaks through for Ole Miss, and it's looking like it. And so you got to give credit to the program for building towards this moment. Of course, the job's not finished. Shout out to Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace to Bean, as he would say. The job's not finished. Ole Miss still has to go out here and win the rest of the games on the schedule to secure that playoff berth. But this team looks like they are primed to be able to make that next leap and help the program level up and make that next step, which I'm sure will be critical in trying to keep Lane Kiffin as the head coach. You want to continue to keep this momentum. You don't want him to go anywhere. Well, you gotta lock it in and show that you can win.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Chris. And I mean, hey, that's one of the reasons why over the weekend you started hearing more and more of the chatter on Lane Kiffin looks like he's getting ready to get out of there. Looks like it's already a done deal between Kiffin and Florida and all of that stuff. You also hear about Ole Miss combating back by restructuring Lane's deal. to remain the head coach there. So it's a lot of back and forth that you were hearing over the week, and what a statement win by beating Oklahoma and tuning out all of that noise, because easily, Lane and company, the guys would have got there and would have heard all this noise, and wouldn't have been locked in to win a game like this. And luckily, they did. They took care of business, and hey, now they can focus on finishing out. So, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, man. But a big win overall. We'll see what happens with Oklahoma going forward, and we'll see what happens, of course, with Ole Miss going forward. As what we have about 3 or 4 games left of the college football season. so,
Exactly.
so yeah, we'll see what happens with both of these teams moving forward. But anything else you want to add to this game before we move on?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, moving along, Chris, we had another game in the SEC. Alabama had to travel to Columbia, South Carolina to take on the Gamecocks. It's a game that got interesting as the quarters progressed, Chris. But Alabama pulled off the win in Columbia, 29-22. They escaped barely, and Alabama finding ways to win. Chris, we've talked about it ad nauseum. This Alabama team definitely finds ways to win ball games, and I tip my cap off to them. Look, they could have easily folded. I'm not gonna lie, Chris, and I thought it was a possibility while also watching the Texas Mississippi State game that both Alabama and Texas were going to fold under pressure. It definitely looked like it was going to be that kind of a upset Saturday in college football, but no, Alabama took care of their business, and now they're riding high after a big game in Columbia. So, what are your thoughts about this gutsy performance from the Crimson Tide over the weekend?
I mean, it wasn't pretty, but you got the win, and you get the hell up out of South Carolina. You go home to T Town. Um, this is Alabama under Kalen DeBoer, Corey. We talked about this. Double digit point favorite against an unranked team, but it's a road game. This is how these games always play out. Granted, Alabama isn't alone in having tough conference games end up being, closer than anticipated, and having to find ways to win, making plays. Again, this defense, very timely, Corey. Whether it's stripping Diego Pavia in the red zone on the road against Vandy, or it's stripping Lenore Sellers with 2 minutes left in the ball game, it looks like we're heading into a possibility of overtime, getting a key big time strip in the late, crunch time moments of the game. This defense finds ways to step up. So you have to give Alabama credit for that. I'm sure as a Tide fan, you would definitely love to live your Saturdays not going through these games. It's tough because we know what this team can be when they play to its ceiling. It's one of the best teams in the nation when they play at their best. But it seems like no matter who's at quarterback, what iteration of this team it is, they play to the level of their competition, Corey. And that is a dangerous place to be at. It's that can mess around and get you burnt going forward. And I'm not calling for Alabama to get burnt, but you definitely want to turn the corner when it comes to playing down to your competition if you want to win a national championship. And I think this team has the talent to compete for a national championship, Corey. But this game isn't national championship standard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you're looking at just the DNA of a national championship quality football team, Chris. You're looking at teams like what Ohio State is doing on a week to week basis. Like they are handling their business. Alabama is squeezing through with these victories in these like narrow margins, but they're winning. Like it's impressive to see, but it also makes you wonder. It's also kind of like looking at A&M, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Um, like when is the point when the dam's going to break? And I'd say this. I think it's more after this week. I think we can ask that question more with Alabama than we can with A&M. Like when is the dam going to break? Because man, are you gonna win like this each and every week? I guess so. I guess you're gonna win just by a couple points each and every week, and it's gonna come down to just that one team that's not gonna have it, and you're gonna have to answer back. It, I know it has a lot of Alabama fans frustrated, Chris. I know this is something that they're not used to over there in T Town, but it, this is what you signed up for. Bama fans, like this is what it is.
This is what you signed up for when you brought him in as your head coach. Because we saw with Washington how his premier season with the Huskies went with these close games. So, hey, this team can definitely continue to win with Ty Simpson at QB. He I feel like is proven. But you definitely you got to tighten up. You got to tighten up, and I'm sure Alabama fans agree. You're happy with the win. It's just the process. It's not meeting expectations.
No, it's not. It's not. And look, I think a lot of this, Chris, delves into what we've been talking about on this show is Alabama's inability to run the football efficiently. They are not running the football in the way that traditional Alabama football teams have done it. They're still winning, but man, you look at Ty Simpson's stats from this game. 24 for 43. He threw the ball 43 times, Chris. Jam Miller, he ran the ball 10 times for 26 yards. Daniel Hill, 3 carries for 10 yards. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where where's the ground attack? I think that's what this starts at. And clearly, it's non-existent. And Kalen DeBoer, he likes it like this. He literally wants them to throw the football a lot of times. And look, for them to do that, it works. They have some receivers. People have stepped up. Jeremy Bernard is amazing. Waivers is great. Ryan Williams has stepped up. All of these guys have really stepped up to the plate this season through the air for the Crimson Tide. But the rushing attack it's a lot left to be desired.
Yeah, yeah. So, you definitely have to run the football better, especially if you want to win. Because everything can't fall back on your passing game. Somebody will be able to take advantage and make life tough for you if you become one dimensional. So that definitely has to be rectified for the Tide.
Absolutely. So we will see. We will see what happens moving forward, but I don't think it's going to be anything too different. I think this is just the team that we're going to get this season. So as for South
Mm-hmm.
Carolina, man, it's definitely I'm definitely eating a lot of crow. It's one thing being a Mississippi State fan, Chris. This is another thing watching South Carolina just implode this season. 3-5, 1-5 in conference play. Not what I envisioned for this team this season. I thought this team was a playoff team. I thought they we're on the cusp of heading to the playoffs. It's not been that this season.
Yeah, it's looking like Shane Beamer might be. We'll see how long he stays in South Carolina, Corey. I think Beamer ball might be going to his father's old stomping grounds. It might not be a bad time to get out of Dodge and head to Blacksburg because this if you make it this year, the seat's gonna be red hot next season. And I know it's South Carolina, but look, those people they support their Gamecocks and they anticipate having a team that wins, especially when you have some of the studs that they have on the D line, at quarterback. You got some really talented guys, and it isn't producing dubs. So those people will get very restless out there.
Yeah, nah, I think you're absolutely right, Chris. So yeah, man, we'll see what happens going forward this season with South Carolina. I like Shane Beamer. I think he's a heck of a ball coach, but maybe we're looking at a situation where maybe he's outworn his welcome in Columbia, unfortunately. So, so yeah, man.
Yeah, it's not even them firing him this season. I just think it would be a wise move to go ahead and go to Virginia Tech if that opportunity presents itself, Corey. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, no. I get what you're saying. You making moves, making money moves, the money moves. Oh man, so yeah, man. But overall, Chris, anything else you want to add to this game before we move on?
No, sir.
All right, all right. Well, moving along, we had yet again, Chris, another SEC caliber football game over the weekend. We had Texas A&M traveling to Death Valley to take on the LSU Tigers at night in Tiger Stadium. 49-25 was your final in this one, Chris. A&M is definitely letting us know. Look, we had our little deficiencies. People were wondering. Some people were still wondering, myself included, when the dam is going to break. I think I'm going to have to eat crow on this one as well, Chris. I think this A&M team is for real. I think by the time we hit that Texas A&M game, I think A&M is going to serve it up on Longhorns. That's just my opinion on that. Just because I think this A&M team is for real. What Marcel Reed has been able to do at the quarterback position is amazing. And just this defense that Mike Elko has constructed for the Aggies this season. They're looking good. This is the closest I think A&M is definitely gonna make it in terms of trying to compete for a national championship, because I think this A&M team definitely has that DNA this season. So, what were your thoughts about this game over the weekend, Chris?
Yeah. I'm not shocked one bit by how this game played out, Corey. We've been saying how much we loved LSU preseason, but that the product on the field has not met the expectation. And it was only a matter of time, Corey, before this team got belt to ass put to them. And that's what A&M came to Baton Rouge to do. And that's what ensued. Belt was put to ass. Shout out to the Aggies. It's a really good team, very well coached team. And because of how well coached they are and how talented they are, they were able to expose who LSU is. We saw Brian Kelly unraveling on the sideline. We're getting the camera put in his face. We're hearing him tell his offensive coordinator to dial up something good right here. Like, as if he what's my job? Like, that's isn't that what I'm trying to do here? Isn't that what I'm trying to do every play? What you telling your OC to dial something good up here for? Like, what? Come on now, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? You're talking to special teams coordinator, like that'll get you fired. Like it's moments like this being caught on camera. So ain't no telling what else he's saying during these games, Corey, that we didn't see on camera. That's just what we saw, what the camera got, whenever it was panned over to him.
We were lucky enough to see
Right,
that.
right. So we're seeing this team just unravel and get dominated at Death Valley at night. We got to look at this team completely differently, Corey. Like, yes, they're talented, but LSU is not good. Point, point plain, period. Just they are simply not good. And it might be a miracle if this team wins 8 games. We thought that would be a disappointment. That might be the best thing this team could do. This team is not good, Corey. They are not good, and things are not looking good for Brian Kelly. Significant changes will be made this offseason. Whether it's the offensive coordinator and other position coaches having to leave, or if it's Brian Kelly his damn self. Something significant will happen, and it needs to happen expeditiously. But shout out to Texas A&M. A&M did what they were supposed to do. They are a good team, and they did what they were supposed to do. I like the Aggies. Do they have some flaws? Yes, but overall, this is a team that has talent on defense, a talented quarterback, talented running backs, talented receivers. Got some dogs on the D line that can get to it. This team has all the makings of a team that can give anybody a tough game any Saturday. But boy, yeah, the drama at LSU, that's more fun to talk about. It's going to be some stuff that's about to go down out there in Baton Rouge, Corey.
No, you're absolutely right, Chris. It is a complete implosion. Now, look, talk about implosions. Like, look, Mississippi State it implodes every week, but if we're being honest, in terms of LSU, this is definitely a disappointment for Tigers fans out there. You were not looking for this team to be in the position that they were in the preseason. You were looking at this LSU team to be right around where A&M is right now, possibly undefeated. Talking about seeding, talking about who you were ready to play up against in the playoffs. On top of getting ready for a potential SEC championship berth, if you could, run the table. Everything was there for you to do that. Not now. This is a complete implosion, Chris, of epic proportions, and it's on Brian Kelly. This is definitely on Brian Kelly, and yeah, I don't see how it gets any better for LSU this season. It's going to get ugly because you look at their schedule. It's not kind to them. It's not kind to them at all. We've talked about that, Chris. It's going to be rough.
You still got Bama. They still have Oklahoma.
Yeah. Arkansas is scrappy.
Scrappy Arkansas team. Yeah. It ain't easy. Is that Bama game at Bama too?
Yes. It is. It's not pretty. It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
It ain't. It's not. So we'll see how this thing plays out. But one thing that I know is going to happen is something's going to happen. I'm not saying Brian Kelly gets fired, but he's going to get met with an ultimatum. You can either do this our way, or you can go on about your way. Because he came into Baton Rouge and then got a lot of people out of places that were already set there in that LSU culture, Corey. He did not necessarily embrace that Baton Rouge culture besides trying to change his dialect up whenever speaking when he first had got to Baton Rouge. But some people who were already in place with the program did not embrace them, and was doing things his own way.
Mm-hmm.
His own way ain't working.
Yeah, they gave him the Burger King rule already. That's done.
Having it your way ain't working right now. So we gonna have it our way this next season, or you can just go on about your business. And I have a feeling that Brian Kelly won't get fired, but he will be. I think he's gonna be like a dead man walking next season, Corey. It's not. He's gonna be the acting head coach, but I don't think he's gonna be the man in control. If you get what I'm saying, Corey.
Dead man walking. You've done it now. You gonna make a big mistake. Is it like that? Look, the AD down there at LSU, he gonna be riding in a Harley just like Undertaker.
And they don't have a president at LSU right now, Corey. That's something
Oh,
else to keep in mind, which I
that's
think
right.
makes it that much more difficult to fire him.
Yeah,
You don't have a decision maker for the university.
yeah. That's rough. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. And yeah, that does not bode well for you, Brian Kelly, at this point of your tenure there. You've had time, you had opportunities. I think the one of the shoes dropping was losing Bryce Underwood to Michigan. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
the fan base liked that at all. And well, it's starting to kind of bite you back in the in the ass now. So it's unfortunate.
It is. It is. I think we're going to see a lot of dominoes fall. I'm not saying that I heard that Caden Durham will be hitting the portal. I just know I feel like you got the nation's top running back on your roster. I feel like he will be encouraged to get much more playing time next season, Corey. So something's got to give. I
Yeah,
don't think there's enough room for Caden Durham and Harlan Berry in the same backfield. If you get what I'm saying, somebody's gonna go somewhere.
yeah. I think it's just it's pretty
That's
much
just one
set
of the
in
few
stone.
changes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna
right.
be some changes coming to this team next year, to the roster and the staff.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, man. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But yeah, just a great win by A&M, and yeah, we'll see how they can win out the rest of the season. I can't wait for this A&M Texas game. It should be a fun one.
Oh yeah, it should be. It should be. That'll be interesting too, because I
Yeah,
have a feeling I know how it plays out. But that's why we play the games.
right, right. I agree with your partner. So yeah, man. Anything else you want to add to this game before we move on to the other games? Oh,
No, sir.
sounds good. Sounds good. Well, we'll move along to the other games from week 9, folks. Yeah, if listening in, we appreciate it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what your favorite game of the week was, and yeah, and definitely put that in the comments, guys. We'll go ahead real quick, Chris. UCLA went to Bloomington and got beat by Indiana 56-6. That's all you need to know. They made it. Look, they made it a little interesting in like 5 or 6 minutes of the ball game, and then what do you know? Uh, Fernando Mendoza said, "I bet," and he just turned into Cam Newton on y'all, and that was it.
Man,
Prime Cam Newton.
UCLA's been a fun story, but there's levels to this, and Indiana once again proving doing what good teams do. If you ain't on our level, we're going to show you that you're not on our level. You will see it in the play. And Indiana's just a different monster right now, Corey. I know it's so crazy to say, but that's college football in 2025, and Indiana is legit national championship contender.
Oh yeah, yeah, through and through. And this team is balling. They are clicking on all cylinders, Chris. And hey, it's like what we said, Coach C, Kurt Signetti. Google me. This is just what he does.
Google him. Google him. Look, hey, look, check the resume.
Exactly.
This is what I do.
All I do is win. That's literally what he did on Saturday. Is win. A critical
Yeah.
beatdown on UCLA. So yeah, man. That was a great victory by Fernando Mendoza and riding high. I can't wait till Indiana plays Ohio State this season. Is that game coming up soon?
I don't know if they're on each other's schedule. I think that
Oh,
might be the
that's
conference
right.
championship game.
That's right. That's right. They are not on the schedule this season. So all things considered, it looks like that will be the Big Ten championship game. If both Ohio State and Indiana, which I'm sure they will, win out, yeah, that's going to be a big showdown in Indianapolis. So I can't wait for that one.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, man. So yeah, we'll go ahead and move along with that one, Chris, and we'll head to this game. The game in Nashville. Vanderbilt took on Missouri. Vanderbilt won this game 17-10. It got a little interesting, Chris. But one of the major things coming out of this ball game was Bo Prabula injuring his ankle. And as far as we've been recording the show, I haven't looked at the intel on how long he may be out, how severe the ankle injury was, but it looked like it was pretty gruesome when they showed the replay where he just got twisted up trying to get into the end zone through the pile. So, overall, what were your thoughts about this game over the weekend?
Tough one. Gritty. Jefferson Pilot special, Corey. These the games we hey those scores. That's early 2000s SEC football right there, Corey. 17-10. Oh, that was a Jefferson Pilot special right there. But
On ESPN.
on the ESPN with Pate State in attendance. All the big media was in person for JPS.
Oh
So
man. I bet you the CW network was like, man, why couldn't we get this guy?
but but in all seriousness though, Corey, this was a good game in the sense of it was just gritty, tough football. Both teams just jostling, for position, trying to find a way to get on the scoreboard, trying to break through and get points. Um, wasn't sexy, wasn't pretty. It's not necessarily a game you'll throw on to show someone, hey, you want to know, you want to see peak football? Check this out. It wasn't aesthetically pleasing, but it was just hard nosed football and two teams trying to find a way to win. Vandy was at home, which I think was a big difference maker in this one. And they were able to execute late, get a late game touchdown, put the pressure on Mizzou to have to drive down the field. Mizzou had the Hail Mary attempt, almost, almost Corey. Made things real interesting and got a touchdown on said Hail Mary. But Vandy, you find a way to win. There's always games where you find a way to win. Bama went through that against South Carolina this week. They've had a couple, we talked about Bama. They've had a couple more than they would like when it comes to finding ways to win. I think this was Vandy's find a way to win game. And shout out to them for doing so against a tough team, a top 15 team in the nation. Missouri, a highly ranked team, very good football team, and you found a way to win. So Now you flush that game down the toilet and you press forward.
Yeah, that's all you can do. Of course, look, it's the 24-hour rule, where like coaches always talk about, and hey, you get the win, you got 24 hours, you get ready to do it all again next week. So, look for Vanderbilt, they've never been in a big position like this before, so it's all about maintaining what you do best, and that's play your game, play your style of football, worry about you, and let the chips fall where they lay at the end of the day. And look, I'm not saying that on behalf of Chauncey Billups. Unfortunately, I'm saying that on behalf of Vanderbilt and how well they've been able to succeed. No gambling there. They haven't been taking gambles. It's all business over there in Nashville, Chris.
Hey, you're right. You are 100% right. So yeah, no, they are handling business. And shout out to Clark Lee, man. Like Coach Steve was someone who just got to the bag. Has he had his extension yet, Corey?
That's a
Because I feel like
great question.
I feel like with all the jobs that are potentially opening up, this would be a great time to lock in Coach Lee because I don't think you want him to go nowhere.
Yeah, and look, I typed it in just 3 days ago. The Tennessean, which does great work, they had a whole article talking about Vanderbilt and whether they're already restructuring Clark Lee's contract right now. So look, even all the publications, even they're thinking about it, Chris. We're not alone.
Hey man, because in this climate, you don't want to, you can't afford to lose a Clark Lee. You
No.
can't. This is this is hard to replicate
Yeah.
anywhere in the nation, let alone Vanderbilt, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
You need to lock this man up. You need to get him a blank check and what however is the max years you can offer in the state of Tennessee because we know these are government. You know these are state contracts. So
Right.
the money will be public. The year length will be public. Whatever is the maximum you can offer in the state of Tennessee, go ahead and give it to him. You don't need him going anywhere.
Exactly. So hopefully Vanderbilt, the boosters there at Vandy are already figuring out ways to offer Clark Lee a
Well,
substantial
they
contract.
gonna get that figured out in Vandy. That ain't gonna be no problem.
Yeah, because it's looking like a well-oiled machine down there in Nashville right now.
They have the resources at Vanderbilt with their alumni base
Oh
to make
yeah.
sure he is well compensated.
Oh yeah, look, all that medical money. Hey, look, you can win a lot of football games. Oh my gosh! Like, look, they're gonna have to create beams for some banners, going forward in the future, Chris, with the way they've been succeeding.
You ain't lying.
So yeah, man. But a great win overall for Vanderbilt. For Missouri, we'll see what happens. In terms of Bo Pavula's situation and just the Tigers overall. This is a team coming in, a really good team. Still think it's a good team as well, but
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
it's tough losing a guy like Pavula, that was playing very well for you this season for the injury.
Agreed.
So yeah, man. And we'll go ahead finally, Chris, and look at the final game that we have for Week 9. Houston traveled to Arizona State. It was a big game in the Big 12 Conference, a battle of two
Yeah.
teams trying to, get in position in that Big 12 Conference, Chris. And you know how that
Mm-hmm.
conference is. It just pops up out of nowhere. Um, a new star arrives, and that new star is Houston because they won this game 24-16. So great job by
Big
Willie
dub.
Fritz.
Big dub for them. This is this team's trying to find its way, and yeah, you needed this victory on the road against Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, against the defending champs, you beat the big dog. So
That's big.
shot that is huge. That is huge, and it's that's the juice this program needs, man. You're trying to continue to take things up another notch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you got the performance out of Connor Wegman that you needed. We
Yeah.
got good Connor.
Mm-hmm.
We got, what I'm saying, took care of the ball, played well. Um, when when you get a guy like that, Corey, a distressed asset is how I look at him. Someone that is full of talent, but just struggled to put it together where he was. You get those guys to come into your program, and you're a step down as a program. But when you get those guys, if you can coach them up well, man, the dividends could be huge because he could ultimately be the difference in this team making that next step, Corey, and really being uh, a monster. You know what I'm saying? A contender in this league.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're absolutely right, Chris. And hey, it's it's just a great performance by Houston. And we talked about it. I think on our prediction show. Houston last year and Houston this year, two totally different Houston teams. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it was Willie
Night and
Fritz's
day.
first season. He didn't have his guys in. They totally fixed that with some NIL and brought in some guys to contribute to this team. And look what they've done. This is a complete 180 of a football team, and they're playing lights out right now. Hell, I we might have to start saying Willie Fritz needs to be in contention for a national coach of the year by what he's done at Houston. The guy
Hey
wins everywhere
man,
he goes. Be honest with
hey, you ain't lying, and with the way this coaching economy is going to be looking here soon, Corey,
you, coach of the
I'm
coach.
real, I'm real curious to see how some of these schools, hey, if they be like, we got to make sure we lock this guy up or not, because I can see a Willie Fritz getting poached by somebody.
You say that it's definitely possible because the man is coaching like crazy right now. He's definitely putting on a master class right now at Houston, just like he did at Tulane. But it's definitely um, a different scenery for him in the Big 12 conference, a conference where he can actually compete a little bit more easier than he could at Tulane to get into a playoff. Hopefully, try to go for a national championship. He's doing it.
Yeah, yeah, no, he's making it happen, man. So got to give him his flowers. Shout out to Willie. So and shout out to this Houston team. You know they, I'm very I'm locked into them. I'm curious to see how the season plays out, how they finish this season because it's been a good one so far.
Absolutely. So I agree with you, partner. So yeah, man. Well, overall, Chris, those were some of the games of week 9 of the college football season. Of course, when one of the big games that probably threw us for a loop was damn Mississippi State. It was right there. It was right there. You were up 17. Then all of a sudden, the collapse just ensued.
Yeah,
I I'm still at a loss for words, Chris. I know you are. I, the whole fan base is. How you lose that
it's
game?
it's heartbreaking, man. Heart wrenching. And it'll be one thing if it was a solo occurrence, Corey. Every week this team finds new ways to lose games. We're in field goal range. Let's throw an interception. Let's not even get the field goal kicker on the field and lose how most teams lose. Yeah, at least if you're gonna lose on the road, it makes sense to lose with your field goal kicker missing the 48, 49 yarder in the swamp. That's how you normally would lose a game. Nah, let's throw an interception instead, even though we in field goal range. Um, Texas is in town. you know, instead of us getting blown out by a blue blood college football blue blood, a team that's full of talent, let's get our fan base excited and have everybody thinking that we got a real chance of winning this game. We're playing to our potential. Let's get up 17 points in the fourth quarter on Texas and find a way to blow that game and lose. You know, giving up 24 points in the fourth quarter. Just new ways, Corey, and it's tough, man. This is Mississippi State fans have gone through just decades of heartbreak. I didn't even this is even a new level of heartbreak. This will end people's fandom, Corey. For real, people will retire their Bulldog fandom from what is taking place this season. Because in another world, another universe, Mississippi State is a top 15 ranked team and is mentioned right there with Vanderbilt as one of the stories of the college football season. This team could be a one loss team.
Yeah, just point blank. Period, Chris. Like this, we talked about it before we start the show. This is a team that could be right there with Ole Miss. We could be talking about an egg bowl of epic proportions, more than that 2014 game. Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
2014 game, Ole Miss was already out of contention,
They're
but
playing
Mississippi,
spoiler,
yeah, they were
right?
playing spoiler, but Mississippi State was all they were there. They had an outside looking in challenge to still make it into the 14 playoff, and ultimately Dan Mullen and company lost that game. If everything fell along, if all the chips had fell in place in this season with Mississippi State and Ole Miss, we're looking at an egg bowl that's going to be massive. Now you can go ahead and just throw that out the window at this point now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough to be a Mississippi State fan. I don't know when this ends, but at some point, fans have to be rewarded for, getting up early in the morning, putting your tents up, turning your TVs on, you know, waving your pom poms, your cowbells, all of that, and you get nothing. And at some point, you got at some point the fan base has to get something in return.
Yeah. I think you, in an ideal world, you now beat Arkansas and you feel like you beat Missouri with the Perdula injury, and it makes it to where you don't necessarily have to beat Ole Miss. But I think now, Corey, you got to win against Arkansas or Missouri or Georgia would be great, and then you don't have to beat Ole Miss either. But you got to beat Arkansas or Ole Miss. I mean Arkansas or Missouri, and you got to beat Ole Miss to really insert life and get people back in. You win the rivalry game, you win an SEC game, and you get this team in bowl eligible,
Mm-hmm.
and you beat your arch rival, your nemesis. You beat T Sun. That's the only way to get people back in. With the heartbreaking losses you've suffered this year, the only way to get people back is to beat Ole Miss. And you need to beat somebody prior to that Ole Miss game, but you gotta beat Ole Miss. You beat Ole Miss. I ain't gonna say all is forgiven, but people associated with Mississippi State will look at Jeff Levy with more of a smile on their face. You'll feel people liking you a whole lot more when you beat Ole Miss. That game is a must win now at this point, Corey. We just keeping it above.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely going to be a barn burner there in Starkville. And look, that place is going to be filled to the brim. There will be Ole Miss people there. watching their Rebels play. That will be the one time where the true Mississippi State fan will come out. And we're gonna see what happens in that ball game. But yeah, that is the one game to instill some trust and hope into this program.
And NIL money.
And
you want
NIL
people to
money.
be invested in you and with the future of this team. You got to win that game. That will get the pocketbooks back open, Corey.
Yeah. So hey, you got a lot of work to do, Jeff Lebby. It's unfortunate that Mississippi State is in this position, but hey, this is why you play the games, and you got to finish. And at some point, he has to know that, and he has to finish these ball games because you're in the SEC. No one's gonna feel sorry for you. We've said that time and time again. This conference is cutthroat as cutthroat can be.
Yeah, definitely. So,
just had to get bars off on that.
My goodness.
Oh man, it was rough. It was definitely rough, but 4 more games, Chris. Look, Levy already said in his presser. He said, "Hey, we gotta get back up on next Saturday and go to Fayetteville. Let's get ready, guys." And I'm like,
I'll be watching other games.
I'm tired, Levy. I don't know about you, but I'm tired. Very much tired. Oh man. But yeah, Chris. Just an interesting weekend overall, good and bad. But yeah, man, we'll definitely see what happens with the Bulldogs going forward. But I'll give Texas this good win for them. They keep fighting back. I don't know how.
Definitely.
So yeah. Before we head out of here, Chris, we got Chief of the Week for Week 9. I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen here, folks. Chief of the Week for Week 9. I gotta give it to him, Chris. Marcel Reed. Just a great job that he did in orchestrating this offense for A&M this week. Just took LSU to the woodshed. 12 for 21, 202 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He did throw 2 interceptions, but he also got 2 touchdowns rushing as well, and in the game with a 92.4 QBR. So the stats speak for itself, Chris. He is the conductor of this offense, and just shout out to Marcel Reed in general, because from what we saw from him last year to what he is now at A&M, he's definitely a better passer, definitely a better athlete, and he just makes this A&M offense that much better than it already is. And hey, I had to give it to him as the Chief of the Week for Week 9 of the college football season.
Yeah, man. Marcel was someone that we knew could be very good coming into the year. And all the talk was surrounding Norris Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier, Arch Manning. Marcel Reed felt like a forgotten guy, as someone who is a returning starter with cachet. Had flash success last year. So to see him continuing to develop and play well, and I believe he had his first 100-yard rushing game as well. So he did his thing in this one, and A&M will go as far as he takes them. He could possibly take them far. I mean, he's a very talented player. So a shout out to him for going into Baton Rouge and pulling out that leather strap and putting it on the Tigers' ass, because he definitely did his thing.
Yeah, he definitely did. Yeah, he carried the ball 13 times for 108 yards with those 2 touchdowns. So yeah, man, that shows you right there. Over 300 yards, all purpose for the day. Great performance. What else can I say? So yeah,
Yes,
man,
sir.
just a great performance for Marcel Reed, and yeah, it's the reason why I had to pick him, Chris, for Chief of the Week for Week 9.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man. But other than that, that's it, partner. That is that's Week 9. It's in the books. It's gone. We're now about to turn the page over to Week 10. Goodness grief.
Yeah. Oh yeah, real quick.
Yeah,
Hugh Freeze lives to fight another day.
he lives the
Got the win
fight.
over Arkansas.
Lives to fight another day. Yeah, I saw that game and it was funny. They were coming back from overtime, or not overtime, from halftime, and Arkansas was ahead, and I was like, "Oh boy." The way we were talking about Brian Kelly, I just immediately started thinking about that with Hugh Freeze, and hey, they figured out a way. They got back in that ball game. They fought like hell, and hey, they got them a win. Got them a win in the SEC this year, Chris. And hey, now you can kind of you know dial the aisle the
Oh,
the stove button
the
a
stove
little bit.
top.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
stove top a little bit more. the
Yeah,
the
it
eye
ain't
isn't
it
that
ain't on
high.
high.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not on
it's
high.
on medium.
Right,
There
right. But it can get back hot again. So,
you go.
oh man,
Hey, this thing it's a week to week thing with that stove top
yeah.
out there in Auburn. So yeah,
So yeah, man. But yeah. Shout out to Auburn. Shout out to Hugh Freeze for getting the victory this week. So yeah, man. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Memphis won, beat South
yeah.
Florida. Caught me by surprise.
Oh, also, I want to give a shout out to one of our listeners, my boy Darren. His his brother and pops were in attendance at in Columbia. You know, they roll tide that way, so they got to go see the Alabama game against the Gamecocks. And so a shout out to them for witnessing that comeback. You know, I'm sure they were the heart was pumping. That blood was flowing watching that game. But hey, all's well that ends well.
Oh yeah, and look, I bet they were. Look, that's probably what made the trip and the game even that much sweeter over the weekend. You get the W. You go through a little bit of anxiety, but hey, Kalen Boyd he got you covered. Don't worry, don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah, yeah. You might sweat a little, but you got the dub.
Oh man, absolutely. So yeah, man. But another great week, Chris. Week 9 is in the books, and yeah, we'll definitely be back here on Friday for our prediction episode as we get set for week 10 of the college football season. So it should be some pretty good games coming up on the horizon for week 10. I haven't really looked at the schedule, but should be some interesting games nonetheless. So yeah,
I'm pretty sure we get the cocktail party
oh yeah,
because Florida and Georgia were on by. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be the game next week. Well, this
yeah,
week rather.
yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So yeah, I see that. Vandy taking on Texas at DKR. That's gonna be interesting. It looks like Texas they haven't had a game in Austin in weeks. So that's gonna be interesting. Oh man. So many other good games. Oklahoma, Tennessee. So yeah. South Carolina, Ole Miss. I feel like Ole Miss is gonna win that game just fine. But we'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. But yeah, another great episode, Chris. Before we head out of here, got some outros. Let the good folks know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, you can find your boy on X at Chris underscore Bolton underscore 12. And also on Instagram at Chris.Bolton underscore. Holla at your boy.
Awesome. Awesome. And yeah, folks, you can find me on X at Listen to KSW, all one handle. I'm on there talking college football, professional wrestling, all of that great stuff. So yeah, definitely follow me on there. But yeah, folks, we appreciate you guys. As always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the video. Follow us on social media. Of course, we very much appreciate that. Let your friends know about us as we're building this community going forward. Very much appreciate all that you do here on the Breakdown Sportscast as we want to continue being one of your top choices for all of the great things going on in the world of college football. So we'll be back with another episode talking about week 10 of the college football season, of course, on Friday. So be sure to tune in to that, guys. But overall, for Corey Willis, for Chris Bolton, you are listening to the Breakdown Sportscast. We will chat with y'all later.
Peace.
Peace.